Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. We are here to help you understand the unique cultural needs of Gen Z and Generation Alpha. I'm your host, Chuck Peters, and I'm so glad you're here today. This is the Etch Next Gen Ministry Podcast. Anyone who has ever worn glasses knows that you need to have a regular eye test. You've got to look at the chart, read the letters, and say if they're clear or not. We need to have a similar eye test to check our vision for our ministries. We're going to be talking today. Actually, I will be talking today with my really good friend and ministry partner, Jana Magruder, who is going to be our guest host for this episode as she interviews me and we have this conversation about checking the vision of your ministry. We've got 5 tips for checking vision. Let's have that conversation right now.
Chuck Peters.
Jana Magruder.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome to the show. Glad to have you back. You're in a different seat today, though.
Yeah, we do that sometimes, and it's fun. It's cool.
You're going to mix it up once in a while.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on Etch, though.
Well, I'm so glad to. We always have such great conversations together. When it came to this topic, and our producer, Nikki, said, who is the best person that you could have this conversation with? I, of course, thought of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
We've been doing this a while, vision casting with teams. How long have we been working together?
So we've worked together now. I am in my 11th year at Lifeway.
Okay.
You were here before I came.
Yeah.
A little while, just about a year, right?
Just a little bit.
But since my time here, you have always been a part of that. We've been on the same team, different roles and different capacities over the years.
Yep.
But we have been partnered together.
Yeah.
And that's
almost 12 years.
And we've done that really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy when we get to vision cast and brainstorm and talk about values and goals and purpose and all those kind of things.
Yeah. So I have heard you speak on many topics many times. Let's face it. I've heard you a lot.
It's too much already.
In multiple settings. I've certainly seen you lead our team for, almost 12 years. And my favorite thing to watch you do is to cast vision. I mean, this is one of the topics, one of many, but this one in particular, you shine in.
So thank you.
Most people who know you would say Chuck Peters is a visionary leader. And so I'm excited to be able to help our listeners see that and hear from you on that, because I know in the Etch podcast seat, you are often the interviewer and you're extracting subject matter expertise from your guests. Yeah. And so I want to use this as a chance to extract information and leadership and best tips for vision casting from you.
All right.
You're the subject matter expert.
Well, awesome.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's talk about vision.
Okay. So checking your vision. It's one of your topics.
Yes.
I know you like to call it checking your vision. I'm going to roll back to where I saw you do a keynote on this. So let's walk down memory lane a little bit.
Okay.
Because I want our listeners and watchers to see this, hear this illustration. So you wear glasses.
Yes.
And you've worn glasses for a really long time.
Since I was a little kid.
Since you were a child. And you talk about how there's a basket of random glasses.
Yes.
In your bathroom.
Our closet. So my wife, Chris, she also wore glasses for a long time.
Yeah.
And our girls both wore glasses. And so we have this, in the bathroom towel, pantry closet, whatever you call that. Linen closet?
Yeah.
Bathroom closet.
Good.
There's all the things in there, all the toothbrushes and all the extra cords for things. But in our closet is this little plastic bin that is filled with old glasses that don't fit anyone anymore and that the prescriptions are out of date.
Yeah.
And they're useless.
Right. But you can't quite throw them away just in case.
Yeah, I don't know why we still have them. That's the big question. Is this like memorabilia? Is this like the memory box of all the bad looks that we've ever had?
That's
right?
funny.
Because old glasses never look good for one. But the metaphor there is that we as leaders, first of all, we need to lead with vision. It is a passion of mine. I believe it's something that every leader, and especially every ministry leader, we have to be people of vision. We have to be people of purpose. Now, for many of us, as I talk to church leaders, and as you and I both interact with leaders all over the country, when you start to ask questions about how most leaders are leading, most of them are ministering, I would say, without clear focus. Some of them focused on the wrong things. And so the idea that vision is something that we need to care about is the first big statement that I want to make. Now, we need to care about it. Now, we also need to have the right lenses as we set that vision. So that basket of old glasses literally is useless.
Yeah.
We are never going to pick up those frames. If we did, I couldn't see clearly.
Right.
And yet a lot of us in our ministry roles are essentially wearing someone else's glasses.
Yep.
Or you've been in your role so long, you cast a vision in 1997 and you're still using that same vision.
And you've outgrown that prescription.
You have
but
to
you're
get
still
your eyes
trying to
checked.
use it.
Yeah, and physically, you have to get your eyes checked every couple years.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you don't go back for the eye check, the eye test, right, with that chart with all the letters and things, it's like, then they say, which is better, A or B? You've had eye tests like that done.
Yes.
Does that stress you out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's only one right answer.
I feel anxious about that every time. Part of it's because I did have bad vision, poor vision, but like I always thought I was going to fail the eye test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like that pressure that I don't know which is better, A or B.
Right.
And then they say it's okay to say the same. I'm like, okay, it's all the same. It's all the same. So for a lot of us though, the vision that we are leading from either is lacking. We can't articulate what that clear sense of purpose is. That's one problem. The other is we may have been given a purpose from someone else that may be out of date that we need to revisit. And so the message here, the call is we need to check our vision. We need to do the eye test, as it were.
Yeah. You're a master of illustrations. And so that is how I learn from you is all of your illustrations. You do object lessons, you have analogies, and the basket of old glasses has stuck with me because that's been a few years since I've heard you give that talk. And that has stuck with me. And to me, it's brilliant because the thought of so many different pairs of glasses to choose from, and they've worked in the past, putting them on, and that was an old vision from years past. It could have been last year's vision, but things change.
Well, sometimes
styles change too. Can we acknowledge that?
Oh, for sure. Yes, and that applies to ministry too, right?
Absolutely.
Because some of us are using a 1980s style approach to our youth group, how we run that, or a 1990s approach to how we do our kids ministry.
Yeah.
And so we need to continually revisit that. It's one thing when we look back to those glasses from 20 years ago, clearly they don't work, right? We can see that.
Yeah.
But then what you just mentioned is that sometimes that drift is subtle.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen all at once. That loss of vision, it kind of fades.
Yeah.
You don't realize that you can't see until all of a sudden you're getting headaches or something. You're like, why am I having headaches?
Yeah.
I probably need to update my prescription.
Yeah.
I think that's a good analogy in ministry too, right? Because there's a lot of us who are trying to run our ministries and we are having headaches.
Yep.
And it could be.
It's so good. See how far the analogy goes.
Right?
Yep.
It just might be that part of that is because our vision isn't really clear. And when your vision isn't clear, you'll have headaches. So like there's that passage that says Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Right? And I know we can't just cherry pick that verse, but Proverbs are principles.
Right.
And there's truth to the principle that when there's a lack of vision, people struggle. Jesus talked about the blind leading the blind, right? He said, this is Matthew 15:14. He said about the Pharisees, they're blind guides. And if the blind guide the blind, both will fall into a pit, right? So we as leaders can't afford to have poor vision for the ministries that we're running. We have to check our vision, and then we have to make the needed corrections to adjust our vision so we can see clearly and then lead safely, right? One of the things you mentioned that we've worked together for quite a while. One of the things that we've experienced is where we've got a whole bunch of people in a vehicle. We're headed off to a conference with our colleagues. Oftentimes I'm driving.
You
and I
are.
remember that a few years ago, like I had an eye surgery that was really transformational for correcting my vision.
And you didn't really tell anyone that you had some pretty significant
Before that, you're
vision
like,
problems
your eyes are this bad and you're driving us for 5 years.
on mountain roads in the dark. Yeah, I
were
remember
safe.
that.
We were safe. Sometimes up the side of a mountain in China. I remember that trip
Oh
too.
my goodness.
Whole
Please
different story.
don't even go
But we've been there. So yeah, and I compensated for that. And so it wasn't a problem for me. I saw as good as I ever saw at that point in time. But when you look back, it's like when you realize the person who's driving the car can't see clearly, that's like, stop the car, pull over, let me steer, right? It's not, it's not safe. So I guess that's just another metaphor, right? For as we lead
Real
and
life
drive our
illustration.
ministries,
Yeah.
man, it's dangerous for everybody who we lead if we don't have a clear idea of what we're doing.
So you talk about the need to check your vision and leading with the why. I mean, I hear you say that all the time.
Yes.
That's a good place to start. And then we're going to talk about, we're going to try to get through 5 benefits. Do you think we can do it?
I think we'll have to cook, but absolutely we can do it.
So
Challenge
you talk,
accepted.
you talk about the 5 benefits of checking your vision.
Yes.
So can we just unpack those one at a time and let you kind of take off and talk about each of them?
Yeah. Let's start by acknowledging for you listeners, that some of you do have a vision for your ministry. Some of you don't. And in the first wake up call here, the first bell alarm that we want to ring is that if you cannot identify and articulate a clear and compelling why for your ministry, you need to take time out right now to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all that different from church to church. As evangelicals, as Southern Baptists, we kind of have very clear and shared purposes and goals for our ministry. But from a practical standpoint, a lot of us are not able to articulate that. And so we need to do the work of checking that vision. So our why, when we talk about the why, it's our purpose. It's the goal. It's the mission. It's the reason that we do ministry. And so the observation is that almost every kids and student ministry leader knows the where, the when, the who, and the what of their ministry. They know what day it happens. They know who's on the schedule. Hopefully they show up, but they know who's on the schedule to lead that class or teach that group. They know what the content is for that week. They do great work in planning that out. But there are very many who just aren't able to explain the why. And so that's what this is about, is that it's worth doing the work to figure out the why. So the 5 benefits.
5 benefits. Number 1.
5 benefits. All right, let's get into them. So the first one is, your why helps you determine your direction and stay on course.
Okay.
So we are on a journey, right? And the kids and students that we lead in our ministries are literally on a spiritual journey. And so we need to know where we're taking them. Your purpose is your compass. It helps you know if we're going the right direction. And so to be able to articulate what is that purpose. So these 5 things that we're going to share are all benefits of doing the work. The end of the episode is the call to action to say, now go do the work, right? To figure it out. If you have a vision that you're working from, use this conversation as a test. See how well we're doing it. It may be that in 3 out of the 5 of these, you're doing really well. And there may be some others to be like, oh, we can apply it over there. So this idea that you're having a clear and compelling why helps determine your direction and stay on course. I think of the GPS.
Yeah.
And how the GPS tells you when to turn right, when to turn left, when to make a legal U-turn. As soon as possible, make a legal U-turn, which you hear all the time when you ignore the GPS and decide you're going your own way right until it changes.
Right.
So, but the one thing that it doesn't do for us is it doesn't tell us where we want to go.
Yeah.
It tells us how to get there, but we have to enter the destination first. And so similarly in our ministries, we need to begin, before we cast that vision, right? We need to begin by thinking about what are our desired outcomes. So when a kid leaves our children's ministry, what do we want them to know? How do we want them to grow? where do we want them to go after they leave our ministry? In the student space, what are the goals we have that when a senior graduates and leaves our church and we send them off to school or to the workforce or to the military, what do we want them to know before they go? And so that's where it begins.
Yeah. So you begin with the end in mind.
Yes, which is an awesome
It is.
7 habit of highly effective people. It's one of them. It's one seventh.
I remember this book, sort of.
Sort of. So
Stephen Covey.
Stephen Covey. It's
Yeah.
like this old book now, but it was like all the rage.
That was
and
a
you know what?
classic.
It's still really good.
Yeah.
It's so if you have
Timeless.
not read the 7 habits of highly effective people as a leader, it's worth getting.
Yeah.
Here's the big secret.
What?
You can find it like in almost any thrift store. Like when you're at the thrift store, either if you go there because you're a thrifter, we often wind up in thrift stores on the weekends and things. You know, you look at the clothes and the T-shirts and whatever else and the broken TVs. But then there's the book section. It's past the DVDs that nobody can play because they're there. But in there you'll often find there's several really good books, and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one that you'll find there. Yeah,
Because it's highly circulated. There's many copies out there.
There are
Over a million
so
sold.
it's a good get. So you can get it for like $1.50, depending on whether it's paperback or hardback, at your thrift store. So look for a copy of that book. But yeah, the principle is to begin with the end in mind. There are 7. That's one of them. And the way that Covey talks about this is he said, think about your own funeral and who you want to come and what you want them to say about the kind of person that you were. Then live your life in a way that would lead to those people coming and saying those things. So that's the ultimate begin with the end in mind. For us, it's live with eternity in mind, right? When we consider how long eternity is compared to how short this life is, this life is in our face. It feels like it's everything. It's all consuming. It is. But in the scope of eternity, the way we live here really should be influenced by how long that time is going to be and where we're going to be there.
Yeah.
So this begin with the end in mind concept, right, is we need to think about what we want as the outcome. And so one of the things that I propose is that the goal of children's ministry and student ministry is not to make better kids. A lot of us might approach it as though it is, right? Because parents, there are some pressures, right, for parents to drop a kid off and say, look, I don't know how to fix this one. They're yours. Church, fix this kid, right? Make them be more respectful or more whatever it is, right? More kind. And so, but those are not the right goals for our kids in student ministry. So the Proverbs 22:6 is that really common passage that we all love, especially in kids ministry, right? Train up a child in the way he should go, and you'll have a better kid by Friday.
That's what we want.
No, that is what we want.
A microwave version.
Yes. And you know what? And I find myself praying that for my own, my own son, but whatever it is, right? And even we want that instant result. We want to see the fruit right away. But that's not the promise of the proverb or the principle of the proverb, right? The principle is and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So we need to shift our thinking that the goal of children's ministry, the goal of middle school, high school ministry is not to make a better kid. It's ultimately to train them up to be a godly adult. And that makes a huge impact on the way that we approach what we do and how we do it in ministry.
Let's go to number 2. Your why helps you make informed decisions.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit.
A huge benefit, right? Because so many of us, can you relate to this, Jana? Maybe you can. Sometimes have a hard time making a decision. It's like, I've got these options in front of me and we can be paralyzed, right? So having the clarity of knowing where we're going, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have obstacles, right? So when thinking back to the GPS analogy, we know where we're trying to get. Well, if we need to go down Main Street, but there's construction, it's going to reroute us around that, right? So if we hit a barrier, we go under, over, or around to get where we need to go. But part of that is along the way, we have to decide if we're going to listen to that GPS or not, or if we're going to take the advice. There's a lot of people, believe it or not, who will tell you about your ministry. You should do this.
There's so many voices in our heads. That's part of the difficult nature of making decisions in ministry is because you have your pastor's voice in your head and you've got lots of different parents' voices in your head, your volunteers' voices, and then it comes down to you making that decision.
And how do you sort it all out in the heat of the moment?
Yeah.
You've got to make a decision, right? So we need to have a North Star. That's where our vision, and really once we know our why, to be able to write that as a vision statement, a mission statement, a purpose statement that is clean and clear and concise and memorable really helps us. So that's really what we're talking about. But when we have that, so many people have a vision statement that's like on a plaque on the wall, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's dusty.
Yeah.
Because nobody reads it.
Right.
And certainly we don't operate by it.
Yeah. Very common.
That's not what we need. So what we need is a practical vision that we can actually employ in making decisions. And having that helps us. So I see it becomes for us a target and a filter. So it helps us know if we're aiming for the right thing. And when we're not, it makes it clear that this is not the right fit.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's almost like the sights on a gun. You've got to line up the front and the back to hit the target.
Do we
and
have
so
time
if they don't line up.
Do we have time for you to tell the story about the archer that you've been telling lately?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do it
Is
really
this a
quick.
good spot for it?
So, and you may have heard this story before, listeners, but there was a guy, Matt Emmons. Was it Matt Emmons? Who was on, I know Emmons is the right name. So if the first name is wrong, forgive me. But Emmons, he was in the Olympics and he lined up his shot. He was a Olympic rifle. He was on the brink of winning the gold medal in this particular competition. And he had enough points to easily win the gold. All he had to do was hit the target. Just hit it, not even in the center. And so the story goes, and it's a true story, he lined up the shot. He did all those things that a rifle marksman does, like controlled his breathing. I can imagine that like his squeezing the trigger was like perfectly done with the right amount of pressure, but not too much. And he fired and he hit dead center, bullseye, dead center. And he looks up and there's no score on the scoreboard. It didn't register. And he looked to the judges and said, "Is there a problem with the scoreboard? Why is my score not showing up?" And they consulted with each other and conferred, and they came back and they said, "No, the score is 0." And what had happened is he hit the bullseye, but it was on the wrong target.
Yep.
You think of those rows of targets all lined up. He was on the wrong row.
Wow.
So he hit it, but it was a 0 because he was aiming at the wrong thing.
Yeah. So what's your takeaway here?
That's the big caution for us is, and I think it was Hendricks.
Howard Hendricks.
Howard Hendricks, who said, my biggest concern is not that you would fail, but that you would succeed in doing the wrong things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So we need to know that we're aiming for the right things. That's determining that destination. We need to follow the disciplines of using that as a guide for hitting the right mark, right? That's that, knowing that why helps us make better decisions. So in the moment when we're feeling analysis paralysis, we're trying to answer that question, should we do this?
Right.
Whatever that is. Should we build a playground? Should we cancel Wednesday night and do everything on Sunday night?
Change our morning VBS to an evening VBS.
All of those things, right? Whatever those are. When we have that and we feel stuck and we feel numb, we feel we don't know what to do, having this site, having our vision statement as a site that we can actually use would really help us. And so whatever that vision becomes, when an idea pops up, we can really easily say, okay, does this idea, somebody comes up and says, you should really have your kids' choir write letters to shut-ins. And so that's a great thing to do, right? Writing letters to shut-ins in our church is a wonderful thing. But is that the right thing for that? Does that help fulfill the purpose, the mission, the vision of your kids' ministry? I'm going to say maybe. Maybe, but if
Depending
it's choir especially, probably not. We're going to go sing to them. That's different. That is in line with what we do. We're going to go sing at a nursing home. What an awesome thing to do. That perfectly aligns with the vision of that particular group or that ministry. So oftentimes we wind up taking things on that really don't line up, that we got really no business getting into.
Right.
And those things take our energy and our focus away from what really matters.
I want to get into number 3 because this is a huge benefit if we get it right, which is your why helps you recruit and retain volunteers.
100%.
Please enlighten me on this.
So when I recruit people, and we all have done this, out of what's essentially need and obligation, I need somebody to teach the third grade class, and I just need you to just take on that obligation and teach it for me. And when we recruit people out of that need, they're not bought in.
Yeah.
They're easily going to not show up. They're going to dread having to show up for that service time because it's not.
They just feel obligated.
That's it.
Yeah, leading with guilt. I've done it.
For sure.
I can say
yes, we all have. You tell the story about walking down the hallway at church during like recruitment season, and people wouldn't look you in the eye because they knew you were going to try to sign them up.
Like, let's dodge Jana because here she comes and she's going to ask us to serve in the preschool.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Let's not do that, right? So we resort to all those tactics, which is what they are.
Yeah.
I need a volunteer. And so I need to obligate someone to take on that responsibility so I don't have to worry about it. And so we resort to like, we beg, we bribe, we pressure, we manipulate, we compromise even who will take, because I just need anybody, just any warm body. Well, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
We need to raise our standards in who we're recruiting, because the leaders who teach our kids, our preschoolers, our middle schoolers, our high schoolers, those leaders are influencers on the lives of these kids. So we really need to be concerned about their character, not just their ability to read a piece of paper, right?
Right.
So when we recruit people out of need and obligation, I say it spells no. N-O.
N-O.
And so instead, when we know what we're all about, and we can say, Jana, our purpose here, what we want to do is we want to connect kids in their relationship with Jesus and have them grow in their identity in Christ. That's what we're all about. Okay. Wow. Okay. Now there's something clear. That's something we can be about. This isn't childcare.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not just filling time while the grownups go to church. There's intent behind this. And as a leader, if I can articulate that and communicate that and own that in a way that my passion comes through, people are drawn to passion and purpose.
Yes.
Everybody's busy. Nobody is looking for something else to do, but everybody is also struggling to feel significant. And I don't know anyone who wouldn't want to join something that would give them a feeling of purpose, of fulfillment, of satisfaction. And so instead of leading when we recruit with need and obligation, let's lead with passion about our purpose, about what we're here to do, and how that person has skills and abilities that line up with our needs. Not because we have the need, but because we're looking for people to partner. It takes the pressure off when we're looking for people who are like-minded, who are like-hearted, people who look like you. Jana, you would be so great. And that recruiting doesn't happen by making an announcement from the platform, and trying to get 5 people to agree before the service is over. It's about casting vision. It's about saying, do you know why we do what we do in our student ministry? We are looking for special people to join us as we do that. And we think that you're a special person. Would you pray about that?
Yeah.
And when we lead that way, we approach people from a position of, ready, I'm going to spell out yes. Ready?
Okay.
To get the yes. We approach people from a posture of talking about your calling and your giftedness.
So that's why.
Yes. An exciting opportunity. Right, what you're going to do is going to be enjoyable. It's not going to be a drag. It's not going to be a burden or obligation. There's something exciting happening. There's the E, your calling, an exciting experience, and then you're going to have an exciting opportunity, and then you're going to have a satisfying experience. And so some of those things don't happen for most of our volunteers most of the time. If we assess who we have volunteering today, do they feel that they are carrying out an assignment that matches their calling? Is it exciting to them? Are they enthusiastic about it? Right. Part of that is whatever we have is contagious as leaders. So we need to be enthusiastic for them to be. If we're not, they won't be. So it starts with us. And are they having a satisfying experience, or are they just like watching the clock looking to be done? And I've seen both. You probably have too, right? Those attitudes in people. And for me, it's a little bit like, I don't know, it's a little bit like when God had Gideon's soldiers and took them to the stream and like, let them drink and I'll take the ones who drink this way and forget the ones who don't, right? I would like to apply this filter. We talk about a target and a filter to my leaders, right? We want volunteers who buy the why, who are bought in on our purpose. And so, right, if we have people who are serving out of need and obligation, they are going to punch the clock. They're going to check out early. They're not going to do the extra mile.
Call in late.
Call in late, and you're stuck with the headache, right, from not having that clear vision. Where when we have people who really feel ownership of the purpose, they see the value in what they're doing, they'll ask to sign up again, right? When we do this right, we don't have to recruit them. We have to filter the people because there's a line of people lined up to serve with us because something exciting is happening.
Yeah.
And so we need to be more selective about that. Yeah. So that why helps us recruit people of purpose and passion with purpose and passion.
All right, let's move on to number 4. Your why helps you define success. So how do we define success?
Well, this I took from your book. I had the privilege of being one of your very small contributors to the book Nothing Less that you wrote a few years ago now. Was it like 2017, 18? It's been a little while. So, but listeners, this book Nothing Less was a research project that the Lifeway Kids team did. Jana led this and wrote this book with Lifeway Research to find out what are some childhood indicators of spiritual maturity in adults. And there were a lot of findings that we found about all the different things that families do. But there was one thing that stood way, way, way out above everything else that was significant. So the survey was for your adult children now, they asked parents, what did you do at home? Some of those kids that were adults were walking in with the Lord in the faith, and some had wandered. And so we were looking for what were the significant inputs that led to the ones who stayed in the faith. And so what we learned, I'll let you be the one who reveals this. There was one key indicator. There's lots of things, who your friends are, what music you listen to, if you serve at church. Those were all factors, but there was one that was far and above.
Yeah. I remember our research team came back to us and said, we have to put this number 1 in its own category. It can't be like a number 1 and then right after that, number 2. It needed to stand alone because it was so significant. So big. And it was Bible reading.
Bible reading.
Yeah.
Right. So the one thing that we learned through this book, the research that went into it, was the children who stayed in the faith into adulthood came from homes where there were open Bibles.
Yeah.
Their parents read the Bible. They maybe read as a family. They had their own Bible that they opened as a teenager, as a child. That one thing was so clear that anyone who's read that book has to think, I need to get my Bible and open it up on my kitchen counter.
Yeah.
And my kids need to see that. I need to encourage them to be in the Word. That is such a significant impact. And so for us in our ministries, though, what are the things? What's the goal? What's the big thing that makes it all worthwhile? Right. So one of those things for the family was if we have dinners together, if we go on vacations, those kind of special moments, not insignificant.
Well, they didn't make the list.
But that wasn't the top of the, no, that's right. Those are all the things that we think we should do.
Right.
And so this is where clarifying that why helps us make better decisions, like we said in point number 2. But part of that is it helps us know how we're defining success, to clarify what are we trying to do in the first place. So in Nothing Less, I often cite some of that research where parents were asked, and these were church-going parents about their kids, what were your goals? What is it that you wanted for your kids? And so using our Proverbs, training up a child, what is it that you desire to train up your child to be or to do? And the research that came back, 25% said their top goal for their kids was that they be happy.
Yeah. Yep.
Happy. 22% said, I want my kids to be successful. 19% said, I just want my kid to be a good person, good morally, a good citizen, a good neighbor. I just want him to be a good person. 17% said, the most important thing, I want my kid to be educated. We certainly chase that. We do. And so it's like, we get you into the better college and whatever else, which leads towards success, which makes you a good person, which leads towards, happiness ultimately, right? And so what percentage, do you remember? It was your book. What percent, I'm not calling you out at all. It's also in the slide. You can look at it to get the answer. What percentage listeners do you think said their top goal, church-going parents, was for their kid to be a godly person?
9%.
Nine, less than 10%.
Yeah. It was the least chosen answer.
That's astounding to me. And it's also convicting, right? Because we would say, a lot of us would say, I want my kid to be godly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the things that we do,
Yeah.
do they really support that?
Right.
That's tough. That's tough. But for us in the church, we need to clarify these kind of values, right? And so none of these are wrong in and of themselves. It's great to be happy, successful, good, educated, godly. But the goal is not... the ultimate goal, the chief goal of a child's life, right, is not their happiness. It's not success. It's not education. It isn't wealth or health or fame or popularity. It's not their happiness. The top goal has to be godliness. It has to be their redemption. Top goal has to be knowing Jesus. And so in our ministries, we need to get that straight, right? Because it can be easy for us to think the goal is to keep these kids safe, or for them to have a good time, or for them to make friends, or for them to learn good values, better behavior. Are any of those things bad? No, those are all good. But if the main goal, the center bullseye on the target, isn't a heart-transforming relationship with Jesus, nothing else matters. Doesn't matter how much fun they have or how many friends they make. We have to get that right.
Yeah.
So that's got to be dead center. The chief goal of our ministries has to be introducing kids to Jesus, connecting them in relationship with him.
All right. You ready for number 5?
Number 5, yes.
Your why helps you pursue and promise a payoff.
Yeah.
Unpack that for us.
Okay, so we want to know what do I get out of this for pretty much any situation in life?
Yeah.
Right. What is it I'm going to get? And so I like a good hamburger. I'm really a pizza guy. You know that.
Yeah.
But I love a good burger too. So
Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Yes.
I already know the
that's
answer.
A controversy right there.
I know. This is where you and I don't line up.
I know. My heart says In-N-Out because I'm a California guy.
Yeah.
And I can't claim, born and bred, but we lived there for 10 years. I love In-N-Out. It's the best.
Yeah.
Fries are not so great.
Yeah.
Whataburger has better fries. But it's really it's hard to make that call because they're both so good in their own ways.
Yeah.
We have In-N-Out is coming to Middle Tennessee.
I know.
So once it gets here,
and Whataburger has
we
arrived.
can do the side-by-side taste test of the two. That'd be awesome.
I can't wait.
Well, so I use the burger as kind of a metaphor for this, right? Because there's that burger that you see in the TV commercial. It's Saturday. You're watching.
I'm looking at it right now.
You're watching the Baylor game, and there's that commercial that comes on, and it's going back to California. I remember the Carl's Jr. commercials.
Yeah.
Only West Coast people will remember that. Carl's Jr. is like the West Coast version of Hardee's.
Right.
Which somehow Hardee's is not nearly as good.
No.
But the picture of that burger on TV, right? It's the tomatoes glistening. It's got little droplets on it.
Bright
the bacon
colors.
is steaming.
Yeah.
The ketchup is glistening. And you just the cheese is a perfect melt.
Right.
And it looks like a work of art. And you're like, I want that burger. Right. And so what happens is it's halftime. We jump in the car. We drive down to whichever burger joint it is whose commercial we just saw. And I'm like, give me that one. Right. It's the big special burger. You point at the picture on the window and then they bring you this thing. It's wrapped up in paper, but it's squished and flat.
It's been under a heat lamp.
It's kind of peaked. Yeah, right. The bun is kind of pale. There's no glisten on that tomato. It's a little slimy, right?
Ew.
So the ingredients are still there.
Yeah.
Right? It's still, I like to go back to my old commercial jingles in my head. It's still 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun. It's
and what you get is, where's the beef?
That's good. I like that. You get, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there. Well, anyhow, what you get is, does it measure up to the picture?
Yeah.
Right. And so the message for us here is part of what our vision does is it lets us paint a clear picture. It's always better if the product matches the picture.
Yeah.
Right? When it doesn't match, people are disappointed. I'm disappointed when I get that burger and it doesn't look like the one on the poster or on TV. And it's hard to recover from that disappointment. They got me this time, but I'm going to a different place next time. It looks more like the picture. We paint a picture for visitors, for
Yeah.
parents, for students, for kids
Yeah.
who show up about what is this church like? What is this ministry going to be like? And we make promises, whether we do that overtly or covertly. There are either verbalized or assumed expectations around what is this experience going to be like. The more clear we can make that by telling parents, hey, when your kids come here, they will have, I don't know, intentional relational connection with godly leaders who open God's word and point them to truth that they can apply this week in their lives. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's too long for a mission statement, right?
Right.
But the concept there, if we know that that's what we're about, we can tell people this is what you can expect. Well, because what happens is everybody comes in with their own expectations. And if we don't clarify what the expectations are, they'll bring their own, and chances are they're not going to match yours. So it's so crucial for us to know what that is so that we can clearly communicate that to visitors, even to our volunteers, right? Part of that recruiting through passion and purpose requires us having clarity around what that is. And when we have it, we can not only know where we're going, determine our destination, make better decisions, recruit better volunteers. We can know our purpose clearly, but it helps us make the right promises about what people will expect when they come to our church. And so it's so crucial that we be able to set clear expectations, to reduce or eliminate assumptions, and then to actually deliver on our promises. And when we do that, people will feel much more satisfied with what they're getting from our ministries.
Awesome. Okay, so let's review
All right.
the 5 benefits that a clear vision will give you.
Determine your destination.
Okay.
Helps you know where you're going. Begin with the end in mind. What do we want kids and students to know before they go? 2, helps us make better decisions. It's the target or the filter. If we're on target and we know what we're aiming for, we can hit the mark. And if we want to be careful, we're not like Olympian Emmons who's aiming at the wrong thing, right? We need to know what we're aiming for is the right thing. Number 3, helps us recruit and retain those volunteers.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to get volunteers better, and it makes it easier to get better volunteers. So, right, because when they buy the why, they won't say goodbye. You won't say goodbye. You'll keep them longer, and that purpose drives people. So we need to make sure that we are inspiring them with purpose. Number 4, it helps us define success. We know what we're trying to not only where we're trying to go, but what we're trying to achieve as an outcome. How do we measure success? What does it look like? And then number 5, it lets us pursue and promise a payoff. And so I think of, with that one, I think of FedEx, where it's like they say, they used to say for FedEx, now it's Amazon, when it's like it was when it absolutely positively had to be there overnight. They made that promise. And then if it wasn't there overnight, then you were disappointed, right? So this helps us know what's the right promise to make as people come to visit our church and assess whether it's a place that they want to get involved.
Wonderful. So we want to challenge you to ask yourself, what is your why?
Yeah.
And define that with a clear vision. Get your vision checked.
Yes.
Go back to that eye chart and remind yourself that it's important to assess. You've got to get your eyes checked.
For sure.
Um,
Just realizing that your current vision may not be crystal clear is a great place to start. Let's revisit that.
Right. And those basket of old visions and old glasses.
Old glasses.
Yeah. Those.
Eventually it's time to throw those away.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be. So you're not tempted to pick those back up. Well, Chuck, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with your listeners. This has been an amazing podcast. We're just so fortunate to have your voice speaking into next gen leaders. So thanks for spending some time with me and letting me be in the seat for a minute and hear from you.
Well, I miss doing this together with you. It's always super fun. So thank you. Thank you for your friendship and for your partnership and for helping think through thoughts like this together with me. We collaborate so very well, and I really appreciate all the ways that we've partnered over the years and will in the years to come. So thank you. Listeners, thank you. Thank you for the ministry that you do in your church, and take on this challenge. It's to embrace the idea of checking your vision, to make sure that it's clear and sharp for what's happening in your church today, in your community today, in our culture today. We need to make sure that we have the right glasses on as we seek to understand and identify a clear and compelling why. Now, the next step is to do the hard work of brainstorming, to think through what is that why, to get it all on the board and to narrow it down. That's another episode for the future. But for now, I want to encourage you to lean in on checking your vision regularly to make sure that you are leading in a way that is clear and strong. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back again soon for another episode of the Etch Next Gen Ministry Podcast. This episode of the Etch Next Gen Ministry Podcast was brought to you by our amazing team. Executive producer, Angie Elkins. Producer, Nikki Ogden. And recorded in the Lifeway podcast studio in Brentwood, Tennessee. With sound engineer, Donnie Gordon. Artwork by Cameron Wilson. And I'm your host, Chuck Peters. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Etch.